Hey, welcome to the Create a Life That Is Beautiful podcast. I'm your host, Leticia Ringe, and this is the space to be for high vibe people looking to create a beautiful life and business. Let's do this. Welcome back to the podcast, my beautiful friends. I am Leticia Ringe, your host, and as always, it's such a pleasure to be here with you all. Can you believe we are almost at the end of the year? I can't. I feel like December has been such a blur this year. So much has been going on. It's been very emotional for a lot of people, including for myself, and it's been hard to feel quite anchored. And I'm hearing this around me from so many of my clients as well, and my friends and my conversations that I'm having. And so I just wanted anyone who's been feeling this way to know that the best thing you can do right now is to pause and take a breath, and probably doing this more often than you would usually, even though it feels like you've got less time and less reason to do that. It really feels like at this time of year, everything just speeds up so quickly. And if we don't take that time to pause, that's how we feel burned out. That's how we make decisions that aren't right for us. And also don't allow ourselves to actually enjoy all of the abundance of what's happening. And what's fascinating is, even though there is a lot going on and there's a lot of big emotions, there's also a lot of expansion happening now. So many of my clients have stepped into really, really huge manifestations, like huge things manifesting right now for them. And at the same time, there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of contraction, a lot of heaviness, a lot of chaotic energy. And this is what happens when we're expanding. When we're expanding, this is when we need our mindset tools the most. It's when we need our energetic tools the most. So the best thing I can let you all know is to take a breath, take a pause, and to give yourself space to feel whatever it is you're feeling. The end of the year is also in some ways an end and a beginning just about to evolve. And while we're always in this cycle of endings and beginnings, because of the collective energy behind this particular ending, which really is quite arbitrary because it's just a point in time and time doesn't even exist, but because we're all part of the collective and we're all connected, you will feel this grief, potentially this sadness as you close the year. Even if it's been a hard year, it's almost like we're drawing a line in the sand and closing a chapter, preparing to open up the new chapter. And with that, there is hope and possibility and all of these beautiful, really opening thoughts and energy. But with that, there is also the fear of the unknown. What are we stepping into? What am I leaving behind? And I really think that this is actually the perfect way to begin this podcast episode, because today is all about scaling your business to 200K plus. And scaling is really all about expansion. And what I can tell you is the number one thing that I have had to work on to double, triple, quadruple down on as I've scaled my business to multiple six figures and continue to scale my business to seven figures is my mindset and energy work. So it's quite interesting because when you feel like everything's working, one of the things that can be the easiest to slip is actually the mindset and energy work. But it's the mindset and energy work that will compound your results. It will allow you to open up to more without actually doing more. It will allow you to scale your processes and systems and team. It'll allow you to step into self-trust in a deeper way, which we have to do as scaling business owners. So expansion, while there is so much to celebrate, also has a lot of pain involved in the process too, because we're breaking down old identities and belief systems that once protected us and kept us safe, and now we have to break away from those in order to break open and allow more into our life and into our business. And while this looks amazing on the outside, when we see all of the celebrations out there of all of these incredible results, including the amazing results I've shared about my own business, What you don't see behind the scenes is the uncomfortable, heavy emotions and literal pain that a person breaks through and goes through in order to embody this new level. And I don't say this to scare you. In fact, I say it to let you know that if you're going through an expansion right now and you're feeling these two competing polar opposite, it seems, celebration, but then this pain and grief and sadness and heaviness. And if you're feeling both of these things and maybe you're more tuned in to one or the other, like, you're actually perfectly situated. You're in the right place. And while it does feel painful and sometimes you might wonder why you keep going, what I want to remind you is that the pain of not expanding is what led you here. Our soul wants our growth and expansion. And it's not so that we can actually have the extra money. It's not so that we can have like the extra people in our community or whatever that goal is for you at the end of your expansion. We expand because it allows us to break through limiting behaviors, programs, belief systems that are not serving us, not only in our business or the area that you have the expansion in, but also across our life, across our experience as a human. And so that's really what the process of expansion is about. And if you can understand that as you step into scaling your business, this will help you go in with the right perspective. Yes, you're here to scale your business and to create some amazing big wins, but the real win is the person that you allow yourself to be through the process. And I'm not talking about being someone else. I'm talking about scaling you. I'm talking about being you in a deeper, more expansive way that is free from limits, from mental drama, from your mind running the show and squashing you, flattening you down. That's what we get through the process of expansion. And on the other side, even though it's always a journey, we're always expanding. We live in a universe that is always expanding. Even though the journey doesn't end in some respects, we have chapters, we have seasons. And when you're able to be on that other side of the season, for instance, in some ways we're all here right now as we look and reflect on the last year that we've all shared together. And we think about our growth and where we were at the beginning of the year, how we were thinking, how we were behaving, how we were looking at our life. And we compare that to the perspective that we have right now. Every single one of us has expanded and can feel really, really proud of what we now know. We have the knowing. We know why we needed to walk the path we have. But as you peer into the next year, into 2022, there's a lot less known. And so there's a lot more fear. It's scary. But that is a beautiful thing. And we're always really standing on these two sides. So I didn't plan on sharing this with you all today. It just came through as soon as I started speaking, and I think that it's the best way to start this episode. I want you all to know that if you're actually looking for some support as you step into 2022, or if you're listening to this episode at some point in the future, if you would love support as you step into a next more elevated and aligned year for you across your life as a whole, I have a really, really awesome workbook that I sell. It's actually my personal process that I've been taking myself through since 2016 when I created the process. It's called Create Your Beautiful Year, and you can buy a copy for yourself over at leticiaringe.com/shop. You'll see a little button to press to access the workbook and to pick yourself up a copy. I love to take myself through this every year at this time of year. I either start it at the start of the month in December, or I take myself through the workbook during usually the period between Christmas and New Year's, because it's just so nice. You've just had celebrations. If you're celebrating Christmas with your family, and if you're not, there's still this collective festive energy about, and a preparation for the new year. And often we're all off and we've got some free time. So I love this time of year to go through that workbook and to really reflect on the year I've just had, close that chapter with awareness of what I've just experienced. I don't want to lose the lessons that I've just learned throughout the beautiful year that I've just been through. And then I want to meet myself where I'm at today. I want to discover myself from fresh eyes so that I can walk into 2022 or any other year ahead knowing how to best support myself with clarity on what is important to me, what I want to prioritize, what I want. Yes, it's a beautiful, beautiful process. And I take myself through it each year because of the awareness I get about myself. I really am a self-discovery teacher. It's like what lights me up. And this workbook really is the embodiment of everything that I believe. So if you would love to take yourself through this workbook to support yourself to step into your new year or to your next new year in your life, whether that's on the new year or not, just head to leticiaringe.com/shop and pick yourself up a copy. You can use it every single year, not just for the year you buy it. And let me know what you learn about yourself through the process. I also, before we dive into today's episode, just want to remind everybody after our episode from last week, which was all about growing your business to 100K, i.e. 6 figures. If you haven't yet listened to that episode, I really highly recommend that you go back and listen to it. It's really helpful for you. Even if you're already at the 6-figure mark, I'm sure that there'll be something that you learn, because the way that I'm teaching business is what I would focus on at very specific stages of the business journey. So some of my clients, of course, come in with some of the steps that I teach already working and operating, and then we need to plug the holes. And some clients don't have any of them. Some have almost all of them, and that's cool. But it will help you even if you are at the scaling stage, which means you're already at 6 figures in your business, or perhaps you're at like 8K months and you've been consistently bringing in 8K in sales or revenue over the past 3 to 6 months. Then this is really the level, the phase, the business challenge that you want to focus on when it comes to taking yourself to the next level in your business. So go back and listen to that other episode as well about growing your business to 100K. And in that episode, I've also invited those of you who are already in business, ready to grow your business to 6 figures and beyond, to join us in my annual Holistic Business Mistress Mind, which is a high-level mastermind for coaches, healers, and online business owners ready to take their business to the next level in terms of your leadership, your income, your impact, your confidence, your ease, and alignment. And as long as we've still got places available, we'll have that open for applications. We start in January, so you want to make sure you submit your application as soon as possible so that we can consider it and come back to you, and you can do that at leticiaringe.com/mistress mind. You'll pop your name on the wait list, and if we've still got places available, you'll then receive an email with the details. Okay, so today's episode, all about scaling your business to 200K plus. I want you to know that this episode is for you, and the strategy I'm going to take you through here, if you're already at 6 figures in your business, or if you're already bringing in sales or revenue of 8K plus over the last 3 to 6 months. Now, by this stage, because you're at this level, it means you've got at least one validated offer for your business. You might have 2, you might have 3, you may even have more than that. And so that means that combined, you have grown your business to 6 figures, or if you were to continue at the monthly sales/revenue amount that you're bringing in each month, you would hit 6 figures. And I'm not the kind of person who waits for the evidence before I consider myself and my clients to be operating at a specific level. Like, once my clients have had 3 months of consistently bringing in sales or revenue of 8K plus, I consider them to be a 6-figure earner. Like, it's going to happen. That's their normal. And so that's, as long as they continue with that, which they will, they're going to hit 6 figures. So now we want to think about how we can grow that, how we can scale, which really to me simply means expand. How can we expand everything they're already doing to go deeper into what we know is validated and is working for them? How can we now expand that? Now, the issue here is that many business owners try to implement strategies that are better suited for the scaling phase of your business before they're actually ready. And so what happens is that you end up scaling your problems too. Here's an example. If you are not at this 6-figure level yet, then you probably haven't worked out how to hold space for the amount of clients that you will need to hold space for if you're operating at that 6-figure level. So if you start scaling your business, and let's just say you've got really great dialed in marketing and sales strategies, and so you've got people signing up and converting into paying clients and wanting to work with you, but you don't have the infrastructure, systems, team, or support to support those people. So you're just sort of super busy, and you feel like you're that chicken with its head cut off, and you feel like you're going into a burnout, and you feel like you can't deliver a quality process to your clients, and that stresses you out. Here you are scaling your problem too, which is that you need support. You need to learn how to hold this amount of people first and set yourself up with the support to do that. You might also think that growth in terms of your community is the better strategy. So you start putting yourself across different platforms. You might start paying for ads, but you don't actually have a validated conversion process that is working. So you might be bringing in more leads to your community and even sending them into complicated funnels, but those funnels aren't converting, or those or your conversion process isn't leading to clients signing up to work with you. So you're just going to send more people into those problems. You haven't solved the problem that needs to be solved first. So you end up in all of these examples spending a lot of time, finding yourself really busy and trying to fix problems that don't actually need to be there and that still require you to solve the underlying problem. So the way that I am teaching business and holding space for my clients is really helping them where they're at in their business in this moment. I help them to solve the most immediate problem that's going to make the biggest impact on where they are now. And we don't look at anything else. We leave everything else. We focus on solving this problem. And then when we're ready, we then move to the next phase of the business journey or the next problem within that phase of the business journey. This is the simplest way to do it because business is a journey. And when you try to solve all of the problems all at once, that's how we get burned out and feel super busy and overwhelmed and all of the things. So this is why I now have my program spread out across the different phases of the business journey. We've got Validated, which supports you as you validate a signature offer for your business. In the process of doing that, you also validate a system for generating quality leads into your business and also converting your leads into paying clients and also delivering your offer. And we just focus on solving these problems only until you have a validated signature offer for your business that is generating 10K in revenue or more. And then we move into the growth phase, which is where I support my clients in the holistic business mistress mind. And here we are working through the 5 steps that I took you through in our last podcast episode, so that we're growing your business to 6 figures in revenue and bringing on all of the support systems, infrastructure that we need to support you in holding that amount in terms of the people that you'll be serving in your business. So then we find ourselves in the scaling phase of the business journey. We're at 6 figures. We know how to hold the amount of people that we're holding at this level. And so now the question we're asking ourselves is, how can we add in significantly more revenue into the business without doing a ton more in your business. Now, of course, you could potentially expand and scale your business and potentially bring in double the amount of revenue, which is really this is what we do when we're at this level, rather than going up in small increments like we might be doing earlier in the business journey. We can start to have really big leaps in the business. So the way that I personally like to do it, and I like to support my clients, is to focus on really doubling the amount of revenue that you have. Now, that's not always appropriate, but as a general rule of thumb, the question I'm asking myself is, if I've hit 6 figures, if I'm at 100K, how can I now bring in 200K? And if I'm at 200K, how can I bring in 400K? Another way to be asking this is, how could I hit 6 figures in half the amount of time that it just took me? So if it took me 1 year to hit 6 figures, then I want to ask, how could I hit 6 figures in 6 months? And that's actually the way I asked both of these questions, but the way that I really focused on doing it for my business was the latter, was looking at time. So for instance, I hit 6 figures then in 6 months, and then I hit 6 figures in a quarter. And then most recently, I have brought in more than 6 figures in 1 month in terms of my sales. So I'm always asking these questions just to get myself to think in a different way, to get myself to see solutions that I may not have been aware of before I ask myself the powerful question. And I'm not asking myself, how can I do it using all of my time and energy that I have available? Because yeah, of course, I could then work twice as much, and then I might be able to serve twice as many people without changing absolutely anything in my business. But now I don't have the life that I built my business for. So is that really a win, and is that really scaling? Actually, I was doing some research on what scaling means from a, typical business terminology and marketing terminology. And I was reading up on some articles about what other people in this area, what their perspective is about the word scaling. And a lot of the ways that scaling is spoken about in traditional business and marketing is bringing in more revenue without actually using more resources in your business. Now, I think actually having more resources in your business to use during the scaling process is actually really supportive. It could be more systems, it could be more team. However, the one resource that I don't want to use more of is more of my time. So for me, that is the resource that I'm not using. I'm not using any more of. I want everything to remain the same while substantially bringing in more revenue into my business. And I'm talking about revenue, but there are so many pieces that come with that more revenue. This means that I'm holding more people in my business. Usually it means that I'm operating at a higher level in terms of my impact and my leadership. So while we use the revenue as a pointer, it's not really about the revenue. It's really about the level we're operating at and who we need to allow ourselves to be in order to be there. So when you're scaling your business to multiple 6 figures in the way that I like to look at it, you will need to have some systems in place, some resources in place, and potentially a team in place or a team member in place, but not always. And so this is why when we talk about growing your business to 6 figures, one of the steps requires us to implement this infrastructure for your business at that part of the business journey so that you're well equipped and ready and prepared when you meet this scaling stage. So as you scale your business to multiple 6 figures, and know that these questions and steps that I'm going to share with you are exactly the same whether you're scaling your business to 200K or whether you're scaling your business to 7 figures. We're asking the same questions, but you will have different solutions presented to you at the time that you're asking them. The 2 questions that I'm asking myself is, how can I double my revenue without doing more in my business? And how can I make the same amount of revenue in half the amount of time? And then there are 7 different areas that I'm going to be looking at and taking myself through, and I will share these areas with you right here today. The first is I'm looking at how can I scale my offers? In other words, how can my offers shift to serve more people and bring in more revenue? I'm also looking at scaling my zone of genius. In other words, how can I focus more on what only I can bring to the business? And here I'm focused on going deeper rather than wider. So I'm not trying to do more. I'm trying to go deeper into the pieces that are most important for me to be doing in the business. I'm also looking at scaling my team. What can I outsource? How can I have people on my team who are doing it better than me? I'm also scaling my conversion process. So I'm looking at how I can streamline my conversion process that is already working. I'm also looking at how I can scale my community building / leads process so that I can reach more people and that can be even more effective. I'm also looking at scaling my delivery. In other words, streamlining my delivery, which might require better boundaries, for instance, or more effective delivery in particular areas. And finally, and most importantly, I'm looking at scaling my mindset and energy. So I'm asking myself, how can I go deeper on the pieces that are already working for me, that are really, really supporting me to build my business to the stage that I'm at right now? And what I can tell you is the biggest piece that any business owner is deepening into, regardless of what stage of the business you're in, is self-trust. Self-trust will allow you to up-level your leadership. It will allow you to hold more people in your business. It will allow you to serve at a higher and deeper way at the level at which you're being paid for. Now, what comes up for so many people as we're scaling is safety. It doesn't feel safe to be seen in this deeper way, in this higher way, in this perhaps more exposed way. And so this is where all of the work begins, because any of those mindset limiting behaviors and subconscious fears that were maybe laying beneath the surface, as you start to open yourself up and look at having double the amount of revenue, double potentially the amount of people into your business, this is where your fight and flight is going to be activated in a really deep way. So those who are going through this process are going to experience pain through this process of expansion too. So it really isn't for the faint of heart here, and the mindset and energy work becomes even more important. I really found that at the start of my business, just allowing myself to start and to step out of my way in order to do that, I felt like I'd made a Herculean effort just to get there. But really, the effort for me came at this phase of the business journey through scaling. And this is because there is a really interesting thing that happens when we are expanding. And I call this the contraction after the expansion. One day I will probably do a podcast episode just on this topic. What this looks like is kind of what we started off at the start of this episode. When we have a lot of expansion happening in our life, there is also a lot of fear at the same time. So we're stepping into this new normal. And because of that, your body and your mind is actually really afraid of what you've just stepped into. So often after you have a big expansion in your business, which could be hitting 6 figures or being at 10K per month, or it might be at 200K or 500K and on, you then have a contraction. And it can show up in ways that don't make any sense. If you've read The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, it goes into the upper limit, and there's a lot of great examples given in that book. So it could be that you're suddenly sick, and a lot of clients, when we start working together, they'll get sick, and we think of this as it's because they're up leveling, right? And so it's usually a really great sign, but it's like the body is afraid. The body wants to contract even though you've just expanded or you're about to expand. So it becomes really, really important at this phase, particularly of the business journey, to be able to hold that polarity. There's the expansion, but then the real desire from your body to contract. And so rather allowing the upper limit to take over and to put you back into, your box, into the safety, into the comfort, while that will happen for a little bit and that's cool, we don't want it to take over and lead the show. So some examples of how this can show up include you've just had a big win, maybe it's your highest revenue month ever, but now you're not continuing to move forward with the strategy that got you here. Or perhaps you're not keeping up anymore with your marketing and sales. It's like, well, now I've got all these clients, so I don't need to worry about this. But in business, we always need to be marketing and selling because our clients' programs are going to end. And so we want to keep up the momentum we have. It might also look like now redeciding your strategies, even though you've just had an effective strategy. It's what got you here. It might actually look like needing evidence to prove that you can do it again. So it's like you've had this big win, but you think, oh my gosh, that's never going to happen again. So because of that, you then maybe hold on to your money, or you might actually go out and overspend it. And that could be because you think like, I can't be trusted with all of this money. Like, who am I to have all this money? Or maybe you think having all this money is greedy. And so there are these beautiful indications through your actions as to whether you're going through a contraction after an expansion. You might also have been working with a particular team or team member or even your coach and who has helped you to get where you're going, but perhaps you can't even see the direct link between that. And so you say, okay, well, now we're not going to continue anymore, or we're going to change the team or change the coach. What you want to be doing and practicing here is going deeper, not wider, in everything that is working in your business. And so these 7 areas that I've just listed above, which could be 7 steps if you wanted to look at it in that way, are really asking you not to go wider. In some cases, there will be a little bit of widening, but we're looking at these areas in terms of depth. We again want to be focusing more on what is actually working in our business. And then from that place, we add in a little bit of width. So allowing perhaps to be on multiple platforms, for instance, rather than just sticking to one platform, which is what I highly recommend until you get to the scaling your business phase of the business journey. Maybe we start to widen our strategy by adding things like ads, but we're only going to do that on a process that's already well and truly working. And we're going to go deeper into that process first before we then go and put more traffic into that same process. So really acknowledging that mindset and energy work is still the number one focus in the scaling journey is really, really important, because often we want to wait for things to go wrong before we deepen into this work. But what about if you deepened into an already strong mindset and open energy? What is possible there? That is where we compound our results in huge ways. That is where we're able to double our revenue without doing more in our business. That is where we're able to make the same amount of revenue in half the amount of time. And so this is where all the work really is in our business. Yes, the other 6 areas ask us to look at things strategically, but what will allow you to have the guts and the confidence to go deeper into your zone of genius is going to be your own belief in yourself, your own value of yourself, your own seeing the value of whatever that zone of genius is that only you can bring into your business. What allows you to bring on support for your in your team, or even with your coaching support who is part of your team, is going to be because you trust yourself to operate at that level. So often we're investing in what we in that next level ahead of time in some way, and that could be investing in terms of our belief, which we want to always be doing because that's manifestation. We're believing ahead of time that we're occupying a certain energy before we're actually have the physical evidence. And so we do this in the way we think about our business, the way we look at ourselves. Really, this is where all the work is. So, for instance, I am not a $1 million coach yet, but I really do see myself as a $1 million coach already. And I talk about myself in that way to myself because on some level, I'm already occupying it. And that is why I will have a 7-figure business. It's because I'm allowing myself to be in this energy now. But what got me here was a lot of fear, a lot of limiting beliefs telling me you can't be $1 million coach. It's bad. It's greedy. Like all of these things, it's not safe. I had to go through to bring myself here. Last year, my focus really was on safety. And this year, my focus has really been on boundaries and allowing myself to step deeper into boundaries. And the theme the whole way has really been about this self-trust piece. So in the scaling phase of the business journey, there are a lot of the same issues in terms of your mindset that popped up when you first started your business that come up again, and they just come up in a more powerful, deeper way, but you're ready because you're here, okay? So you're ready to face them. So just knowing that the process for scaling requires you to really arm yourself with the support for your mindset and energy. And also it's really, really important for you in terms of building your team, because now you're going to be learning a new skill, which is how to manage and lead a team. And that's a skill I've been really learning and deepening into over the last 2 years. There's a lot that comes up with your own relationship with yourself and also your relationship with your mind in terms of scarcity and needing to do it all yourself. And I've really been sinking into and noticing how perfectionism shows up in many more ways than I was even aware of. And this is a beautiful thing, okay? Because we're bringing more awareness to how we're limiting ourselves, which only allows you to be yourself even more and to allow yourself to be paid for being yourself and allowing yourself to actually serve and know that that's the contribution, you being yourself and not adding all of these bells and whistles. So the scaling phase of your business journey is very rich, and you support yourself by allowing yourself to properly go through the validated phase of the business journey first, and then the growth phase, and then at the appropriate point, the scaling phase. I know that so many of you want to be here right now, but allow yourself the time and space to go through these other 2 journeys first. That's going to make what you go through at this level so much more easeful for yourself. And I highly recommend that anyone at this stage of the business journey, you have the resources now. So if you were using that as a reason not to give yourself support before, you really want to be overcoming that now. Get yourself the support, work with a coach as one of the members of your team to allow yourself to step into this deeper self-trust and to help you see how you can double your revenue without doing more in your business and how you can make the same amount of revenue in half the amount of time. Give yourself the gift of having that mindset and energy support. I do not know how I could have gotten through the last 2 years in my business without it. And that's why I invest tens of thousands of dollars in my business, like so much, because I know how important it is for me to have that support. So, my beautiful friend, there you go. This is what I'm focusing on to scale a business to 200K and beyond. And I'm so excited for those of you who have been called to this episode because it means that it's going to happen for you at some point. And that's really, really exciting because it means that you're going to be serving an incredible community of people at a super high level. And I'm so excited for all that they will get through working with you and your amazing business. So if you're ready to bring on support for your amazing team to help you as the CEO of your business as you scale to multiple 6 figures, I want to invite you into my new, very intimate mastermind, the Holistic Business Council. This is the closest way to work with me in 2022. It has been intentionally designed to support you as you scale your business. You'll be in a very intimate, small group of other business owners who are already operating at this level with you. So not only will you have my support and guidance, but you will also have the support and guidance of the other people in this mastermind. I personally have discovered how much being in the energy of other highly successful women in business has supported me to up level in this super quick, rapid way that I have been up leveling my business and myself personally. And so I wanted to bring this in an amazing offer for my clients who are at this level. I wanted to give you both the one-to-one support from me and also the mastermind support from other incredible women in business who are already operating at this level. So this offer has been perfectly designed to give you everything you need at this stage. You'll also have access to my team. You'll have access to other incredible guests who are specialists in their fields who will help you with these 7 areas that we have spoken about today to scale your business. So if you are already at 6 figures in sales or revenue, or you have had sales in your business of at least $25,000 in the past 3 months, you are eligible to be considered for the Holistic Business Council. And all you need to do is join the waitlist at leticiaringe.com/council. I will then send you an email with all of the details and then you can apply. We start in January 2022 and I'm so excited to support those of you who are called to the experience. Now, if you're not there yet, but you're growing your business to 6 figures, remember to join the waitlist at leticiaringe.com/waitlist. Be one of the amazing people to join us in the 2022 Holistic Business Mistress Mind. As long as we've got places still available, you'll receive an email immediately with all of the details. And finally, if the step that you need to focus on is validating a signature offer for your business to 10K, then join us today in Validated at leticiaringe.com/validated. This is the only step to take if you do not have a validated signature offer that is bringing in revenue of 10K or more in your business. This is the step to take today. It's going to be what will get you to 6 figures and to multiple 6 figures in the quickest way possible. So start there. And all of my programs are designed so when you reach whatever that level is that the program's helping you to get to, you will be able to join us in the next program. So I'm really, really excited to be working with you all throughout 2022 together and to be having this beautiful way of supporting you by just focusing on exactly where you are in your business right now. All right, my beautiful friends, I want to know what has come up for you as you've listened to today's episode. What is that next phase in your business that you are now stepping into? Take a screenshot of you listening to this episode right now and tag me over on Instagram at Leticia Ringe, and let's keep the conversation going. All right, my beautiful friends, I will see you in our next episode. Bye. Hey, if you're ready to create your very own purpose-driven business too, I invite you to check out my online program, Create Your Beautiful Biz. You'll learn how to create a business that allows you to make your difference and thrive. Just head over to www.leticiaringe.com/CYBB. Let's make creating a business beautiful. I'll see you there.